Hi, third graders. This week we're going to take what we learned from last week about finding the main idea and key details of a text, and we're going to put it into an informational writing paragraph. Don't worry, I'm going to walk you all the way through how to do this, and by the end of the week, you will be an expert on how to create a main idea informational writing paragraph. All right, so let's start. Think back to last week's lessons on finding the main idea and key details of a text. On a scratch piece of paper, so that just means a paper that you can write on. It doesn't need to be a whole sheet. I want you to write down what main idea means to you. So if I said to you, hey, what is the main idea? What does that mean to you? And then I want you to write down what key details are. Why are key details important when you are talking about the main idea? So think about that for a minute and push pause, and then when you're finished writing, unpause, and we'll talk about what they both mean. So here's what I hope you wrote on your paper. Now it doesn't have to be exactly what I have, but just around the same idea. So something to do with the main idea would be what the text is mostly about. So that is the main idea. If somebody said, can you tell me in one sentence what you just read about? That would probably be your main idea. What is it mostly about? And then supporting key details, they give more information, they might give examples, or they might explain more about the main idea. So let's look at some examples here. If I said to you that I just read a story about basketball and I was asked, what is the main idea? I could think, I'm going to think back to what I read. What is one good sentence that tells what the story was mostly about? And I come up with this sentence, basketball is a fun sport. So my key details would need to give more information from the text about why basketball is a fun sport. So here are some examples of supporting key details. In the text, maybe it said you work with a team, and that's fun to do. It may say that you shoot baskets in basketball, and that's fun. And it might also have said something about running up and down the court being fun. So those would just be more examples of why basketball is a fun sport. So that's how you can determine what the difference is between the main idea and key details. You want to see what the text is mostly about for the main idea. Once you find out what it is mostly about, then give examples or explain or just give some more information about the main idea for the key details. So this brings us to today's learning target. Our learning target says, today we will determine or find the main idea of a text, recount the key details, and explain how they support the main idea using an informational paragraph. So this is slightly different because we're adding a third part of our learning target. We're going to explain how those key details that you pick from a story support the main idea. So here is how we are going to take the information that we learned last week about main idea and what we're going to do with it this week. So last week we practiced finding the main idea of a text. We also looked for key details that support the main idea. Well, this week we're going to take that information and we're going to explain how the key details support the main idea. So basically, why did we pick those key details as supporting details for the main idea? All right, since I said that we're going to write an informational paragraph, we have to make sure we plan for what we're going to write. So there are 3 things that you're going to need to make sure you understand about a certain text that you're going to write about. The first thing is you have to know what the main idea of the text is. You also have to come up with 2 to 3 supporting details from the text that support the main idea. Remember, these are examples of the main idea. They explain more about the main idea or they give information about the main idea. And then the last thing is what we're focusing on this week. How do those details support the main idea? Why did you pick those details? All right, boys and girls, this week is where we're going to tie in the information that you learned from your writing assignments last week when I asked you to watch the videos about hamburger writing. We're going to put it into practice this week. So on the right-hand side of your screen, you see a hamburger graphic organizer. This is what we're going to use to organize our informational writing. When I think of a hamburger, I think, okay, there's a top bun and a bottom bun, and in the middle has the good stuff, the hamburger, the cheese, the tomatoes, whatever you put on your hamburger. Well, that's just like writing. The good stuff is going to be in the middle of your paragraph. The top and the bottom just kind of support it to keep it together. So that first sentence, the topic sentence, is going to be your main idea sentence. That's going to tell the reader of your paper what you're writing about, and that's your top bun. Then the next three parts or three sentences are going to be the interesting things. It's the key details that tell you more about the main idea. And then that last part, the bottom bun, that's just wrapping it up, and that's where you're going to tell the reader how those key details that you picked tell them more about the main idea. Are they examples, explanations, or did you get extra information about the main idea from the key details? So that's how we're going to use the hamburger writing this week. Okay, so here's how we're going to put our hamburger writing into action using a text. So I'm taking the story from something you read last week called Open Wide. This is the story about the hippos. And the first thing I need to do is find the main idea of the story. And since we've already read this, I circled the part of the text that gave you clues about what this story is mostly about. And so the main idea of Open Wide is hippos are the most dangerous wild animal in Africa. Notice how I started that sentence saying the main idea of, and then I put the title, and then I explain what the main idea is. Make sure that you structure your writing like that, because we're going to be very specific on what we require in each of these sentences. So then the next thing I need to do is find details about the main idea. I need to find details about why hippos are the most dangerous animal in Africa. So the first one is that they kill more people in Africa than any other animal. So the way I structured that sentence is one key detail from paragraph 2 is hippos kill more people in Africa than any other animal. Okay, that tells us more about why hippos are dangerous. So let's look at another key detail. I circled down here, and so in the graphic organizer I wrote another key detail. Notice I use that transition word, another. So another key detail from the text in paragraph 3. So this is how I'm citing my evidence. I'm saying I found it in paragraph 3. It says hippos can do a lot of damage because they can weigh up to 9,000 pounds. So that's another key detail on why hippos are dangerous, which is our main idea. And then the third detail that supports our main idea that I'm adding to our graphic organizer is a third key detail. So notice how I structured that sentence, a third key detail from the text. So I could say a third key detail also from paragraph 3, or you can just say from the text. You could even say a third key detail that the author mentions in the text. So depending on how you choose to say the evidence, it doesn't matter how you do it as long as you refer back to the text somehow. So a third key detail from the text says hippos have sharp teeth. So that tells us that that is a reason that hippos can be dangerous. So all three key details tell me more about the main idea. So now our conclusion sentence needs to be basically why do those key details, or how do those key details support the main idea? So my sentence says, in conclusion, notice I use that transition. It's showing my reader that I'm at the end of my paragraph. In conclusion, these details support the main idea because they are examples of how hippos can be dangerous. If you noticed in the story about the hippos, I had sentence starters for each part of the graphic organizer, the Hamburger graphic organizer, to help me start each part of the hamburger. So the first part, the bun, I started the sentence with the main idea of, then I put the title of the story, is, and then I told you what the main idea of that story is. So this is a good way to start your paragraph when we are writing about the main idea. The next part, I started with one key detail from, and you can say one key detail from the text. You could say one key detail from paragraph 5. You could also say one key detail that the author mentions is, and you tell and give that key detail from the story. Another sentence starter could be another key detail from the text is, or again you could say another key detail from paragraph 5, or another key detail the author mentions is. And then for our third key detail, we start our sentence with a third key detail, and you could say in paragraph 5 says, you could also say a third key detail the author mentions is, or a third key detail from paragraph, or in the text says. So these are all sentence starters that help you start your sentences about the key details. Then for your conclusion sentence, this is where you're going to explain how those details support the main idea. In conclusion, we start our sentence with that sentence starter. So in conclusion, these details support the main idea because, and then you can explain, do they give examples of the main idea? Are they explaining more information about it? Do they show us something? Or you could say, in conclusion, these details support the main idea by, and then again explain how they do that. So use these sentence starters inside of your Hamburger graphic organizer to help you get your sentences started. All right, it's your turn now. You're going to need the story called A Landmark Anniversary from your Scholastic News, the election issue. If you don't have this one, you can use the article from the screen right here, or you can log into your Clever account, go to Scholastic, and find this issue so that you can read the story. So after you find that, you are now going to read the article. Remember, when you read it once for information, then read it again to look for the main idea and your key details. So once you have read through it, then read again, look for the main idea. Then you're going to find 3 key details that tell you more about the main idea. And you're going to write those on a piece of paper. So again, you need to read the article, find a main idea and create a main idea sentence, and then find 3 key details using the sentence starters from earlier in the video and write those on a piece of paper, because tomorrow we will finish the third part of this assignment where we explain how those key details support the main idea. So you'll need to have the first 2 parts, the main idea and the key details, finished before our lesson tomorrow. All right, boys and girls, good luck. If you need to watch the video again to help you out or rewind it to the graphic organizer for your sentence starters, you're more than welcome to do that. All right, we'll see you tomorrow.